welcome. Thank you for joining me today. It is a beautiful Monday morning here in Northern Nevada. I hope everybody is enjoying whatever weather that you are experiencing, even if it is snowing. And I talked to one of my clients that already had 7 inches of snow. So we can find joy in all the weather that we experience, right? I'm sure we can. I absolutely love summer. I hate that it goes away, but we can still find joy in the weather that we're experiencing somehow, right? So let me introduce myself in case it's your first time joining me. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am the host of the Childcare Business Coach podcast, which you can find on all major platforms. I'm even in Alexa, so you can actually ask Alexa to play the Childcare Business Coach, and my Alexa's listening to me, so hopefully she doesn't. So you can pretty much find my podcast where all major podcasts are played. I am the owner and founder and the CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps childcare owners find success while balancing their productivity and their high quality standards in their childcare center. For me, the number one priority are always the children and the quality that is we put out there in life, right? But I also help you to find that balance between achieving that and running a successful childcare center and finding peace, getting your life back. I know for me as an owner, and the reason I started doing this is because I once lived the life of an owner where my center owned me. I felt like it owned me. I was working, like 50, 60-hour weeks. I was exhausted. I was there 6 to 7 days a week, and it definitely felt like my center owned me. So I set out on a mission to show other owners and directors that it doesn't have to be that way. Being an owner and a director does not have to be so consuming and so stressful. You can take control back. As you pop in, say hello. My comments don't always work. Hopefully I will be able to see them, but they don't always work. But say hello. It does get lonely on this side of the camera. I am also a childcare center owner. I do own a childcare center, and we are looking to open my 4th center. So I do have that experience. I know what it's like. I was a director for years. I've pretty much done everything. So I do know what it's like being an owner through COVID and through everything else that we do. So today I am just going to jump right to it. We will probably have a shorter session than normal. And just an announcement too, next week, I will be actually having surgery, so you guys will get a pre-recorded version of my Mindset Monday. I'll I'll have my assistant replay something for you guys, but I'll still provide content for you. It just won't be live. And then the following week will be live again. It's pretty minor, so I will be bouncing back pretty quick. I'm sure I usually do. And then the other announcement is the following week, I am actually going to be hosting a free seminar for you guys on how to increase enrollment in your centers. I know that is something that we're all concerned about this time of year is normally when we get our big push. So I am going to be hosting a free seminar every day of the week. Starting this Monday, but the following Monday, which I'm sorry, the date is slipping my mind. If someone there can put it in the comments, that would be fantastic. But it will be increasing enrollment in your childcare center. Just the techniques I've used over the years to get my center to a 300 plus child wait list. So today though, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. It's kind of funny. I had something else planned for today, but this morning I was on the phone with one of my clients. I was actually in a Zoom conference with one of my clients, and something came up that I thought, you know what? I really need to bring this to my audience. Everybody in the ECU world needs to hear this, and we all need to know about it. So I decided to do a quick pivot. Literally, this was 30 minutes ago. So the entire speech I have planned for you guys today and everything I planned on talking about today basically is going out the window, and I am just going to talk off the cusp about something else. So it won't be quite as organized as I usually am, but it's important for you guys. And it'll probably be a little bit quicker since this isn't what I had planned on talking about. But it's really important to the success of your center and to the success of your mindset and your staff's mindset. Because a lot of times we really it's not just our own mindset, right, that we need to focus on. And it's not just our family, but it's our staff too. We really need to focus on their mindset. Where is their mind? What is their brain doing? What's going on in their heads? And helping them stay in the right frame of mind will help your center to be more successful. And in any business, mindset is always the key. Keeping control of your mindset no matter what's happening around you, right? When it comes to business, we have to keep control of our mindset. I see Raul. Hello, Raul. He just hopped on. It looks like Christian's on there. Hello, everybody. But mindset is just so important. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about your center's superpower. Okay, every one of our centers has a superpower, or as Mike Michalowicz would say, your queen bee. And that is something that really stuck with me over the years. Is Mike Michalowicz in his book, gosh, which one was it? I think it's Clockwork. He dedicates a chapter that's talking about your center's queen bee, the QBR, which is the queen bee role. And I call it my center's superpower, right? So every business has a superpower. And you should. If you don't, you need to establish this. Absolutely fundamental. And it needs to become every staff member's mindset, right? So what my center's superpower is our high quality research-based standards. That is what we're dedicated to. That is what we work towards. And what Mike Michalowicz explains is that if you think of how a beehive works, every bee in the beehive is there to serve the queen, right? Their entire function revolves around serving the queen. So if that is going to make for a successful beehive, every one of them has to work together to make her successful. So the feeding, everything, that's what their life revolves around. So the same thing should happen in our businesses. We need to figure out what is our queen bee role or your center's superpower, right? And everything you do, all of your employees, all of your decision needs to revolve around that superpower or the queen bee role, as Mike Michalowicz would say. So for me, that's the quality. So whenever we're making decisions and we're doing something, it has to go towards the quality. And bottom line, in early childhood education, the center of everything we do should be the children. It shouldn't be about the teachers. It shouldn't be about your personal beliefs. It should be about putting the children first, right? Which is why we chose quality as our queen bee role. Because how better can we serve the children than by providing the highest quality that they deserve? And if you've been listening to me for a while, you also know that my vision for my life and for everything is basically to make sure that all children have access to high quality early child care regardless of their socioeconomic status, right? So regardless of how much money they have, regardless of whether they can afford it or not, they all should have access to it. So that also goes along with my center's superpower is that quality, right? Our superpower being quality. Because if our superpower is quality and I'm trying to help all children access that quality, just to make sure that they're all getting the love, nurturing, education, and the best that they possibly can, then I'm fulfilling my vision for my life and for my companies in that, making sure all children have that access, right? So when you're deciding, if you don't know your superpower already, you guys probably have one, you probably just don't know, and you probably haven't pinpointed it yet. So what I would encourage you to do is really start pinpointing that. Really sit down with some paper and a pen and just figuring out, what do I want my center's superpower to be? And you guys, like I said, you probably already have it, right? And you may just not know. Once you really crystallize that in your mind and you really understand this is my center's superpower, then you need to start making it contagious. Your center's superpower should absolutely be contagious. It should be something that you are going to spread to your entire staff and that you're going to help your staff to just make it their own. It's that one thing that's really going to it gets you up in the morning, right? It's the thing that just makes you want to go to work. So during living in the land of COVID and as hard as things have been, what is that one thing that keeps you going? Why haven't you left the industry? Why are you still there? And we know bottom line is for the children, right? Because we love the children. But what is it? What are you providing to the children? That is your superpower. Okay, and if you don't have one, you got to come up with one. If you're a newer owner, director, and you don't quite know, or you guys don't pick something. I have some church centers that making sure they spread Christ, that is their superpower, right? That love of Christ, showing the love, and just that is their superpower. So it doesn't, pick yours. I have one center that is a very nature-based, and they want to make sure that they're spreading just nature and harmony through to their children. So that is their superpower. So find yours, and then you need to make sure that all of your staff is on board with your superpower. That is so very important, that they have to have the buy-in. So if this isn't something that you've done, and if you're even unsure of what is my center's superpower, have a staff meeting, create it together. This is something you guys can do together, and it's something that will create loyalty, longevity, and really keep your staff just more vested and involved with you, especially if you bring them in and empower them in a way that says, you know what, I want you to be a part of my center's culture. I want you to have ownership here, to the point that I'm going to help you decide what our superpower, what our center is going to revolve around, right? That really just helps them to make it their own. Something that we like to do when I do my annual vision meeting is just helping them pick out their own for their classrooms. And of course, it's going to revolve around quality, which is my overarching superpower, right? But they get to say, okay, so what does this mean for your classroom? And how are you going to help to make this become your main focal point, right? So the thing that I really focus on, and I've trained my staff to really focus on, is whenever you're making decisions for your classroom, when you're writing your curriculum, when you're purchasing, whatever you're doing, ask yourself all the time, how does this help my center superpower? Or Mike McAllowitz would tell you the queen bee role, which I love to think of it as the queen bee also. I think it's an amazing analogy. I actually have queen bee symbols all over me all the time to keep me focused on that queen bee, right? So if you're thinking about the queen bee, what is it that you need to do today? So if you guys have watched my time management stuff, or if you're one of my members and you know I'm always getting that time management, I have you pick 3 things that you're going to choose every day to focus on. And those 3 things should be complementing the queen bee role, right? Or it should be complementing your superpower. So think about that. Like every single day, if you think to yourself consciously, I need 3 things that are going to get me to my vision and going to fulfill my queen bee, right? And they're usually interchangeable, okay? They're usually the same thing. So you're really going to up that quality of your center. Even if your queen bee role isn't quality like it is for me, you're still going to take your quality to the next level, right? Because you're going to be focused on something that really nurtures and is best for the children. You're putting them first. A lot of times in this industry, I see that fall to the wayside, and it's really, really depressing, where we become complacent. We get through everyday life and we forget that the children are the center of everything we do, and it's why we do it. So if you find yourself saying things like, oh, this child is we just can't help them, or they're just awful, or they're just so badly behaved, then children are not at the center of your queen bee role at this point. Instead, if you change your mindset to thinking in terms of, how can I help them? What is going on here? What are they missing, right? Then you know that, yes, the children are the center of everything you do. And yes, my queen bee role is probably what it needs to be. We had a fantastic training at Zooin over the weekend. And at my childcare center, we had a couple professors from the University of Reno come in, and it was just amazing, some of the things that they talked about. And one of the trainers in particular was talking about how we really need to have a mindset shift, and we need to look at everything from a realm of curiosity. And I'm going to give Leanne Shelton a shout out. She might watch this later. She's the one who came up with it. We worked a lot together with her, but she was saying, if you stop looking at it as like these bad behaviors and start coming at behavior from curiosity and asking yourself, why why is this happening? It really is a game changer. But that is a tangent I'm getting off on, and it does help with quality. You can make that your queen bee role, but that is a tangent I just had to add in there just because I just see it all the time. And if you're blaming the children, they're not the center. They really aren't. So kind of making that mental shift to curiosity instead of blame will really help you to put them at the center of your universe again, and your childcare center's universe, which is where they should be, right? This is not an industry where they can't come first. So just going back to the whole queen bee role superpower thing, just really making that contagious is so very important. You have to have staff that buys in. They've got to, if not, then you don't have the right staff. I do have a podcast episode that's titled When It's Time to Say Goodbye. I know I talk about it all the time. It's my most popular episode. I get the most listens to that one episode by far, because toxic employees will take your entire center down, and having that right employee will really help. So when you know your queen bee role, you're going to see the people who fulfill that. You're going to see the people who bring that into fruition and who complement it, right? And you've got to keep telling yourself everything else has to go. If it doesn't complement the queen bee, it's got to go. Got to go. It's really funny because Brandy will actually, and for those of you who don't know, Brandy is my center's director, and she was my assistant for 10 years. So she knows me probably better than anybody else. But she'll tell me all the time, it'll just, are you making this decision based on the queen bee? Or is this something that you're just, why are we making this decision? Because I do tend to like, ooh, that's cute. I want one of these, and I wanted, what was it that I wanted over? I wanted a bounce house water slide for over the summer season. And she was like, okay, so how does that help the queen bee? Is that really going to help the queen bee in any way, shape, or form? And I just step back and like, oh, you're right. It really isn't. It's just more something I want because it looks fun and cute. But so she always kind of brings me back to that, like, how is this complementing the queen bee role, right? And I do it for them. They do it for me. It just becomes a mindset. And when your center really revolves around this mindset of this queen bee role, and I don't know, in childcare I really like the thought of the superpower, right? Because we are around children. So I really like the thought of like, what is our superpower, and how does this complement and make our superpower even bigger and better, right? That's really important to think of it that way too. So it really is like everything you do. Whenever you're having a hard time making a decision, that will also help you in deciding. You can sit down and ask yourself, is this, what I'm deciding right now, really going to help take my center to where I want it to be? Is it part of my queen bee? Am I serving the queen bee role in my center? Mike McAllowitz's book, Clockwork, is awesome for this. It's just like, that is just a chapter of it, but it's a wonderful, it got me into that mindset, and then I kind of really ran with it and made up my own thing, and just really, I could write my own book on that one thing at this point, just because I just really ran with that after I read his book. But I highly recommend it to get in the right mindset and right mind frame. Mindset is so very important. Getting your staff there, helping them to see that, helping them to always think about, what is our queen bee? What is our superpower? How are we going to get there? How are we going to accomplish it? Really getting to focus on that is very important. It's so incredibly helpful to the health of your center and for you. When you're having a hard day, when things are just, for us, we're having a hard year, 2020, right? Tomorrow's a presidential election. It's going to be a rough day for all of us, I think. It's just so much tension, and I think most of us are afraid of how everybody else is going to react. So when we can stay focused on the queen bee and our superpower, instead of focusing on everything that's happening around us, and just serving that, it really just helps to make everything else fall away. So really just think about that. What do you want your center's queen bee to be? Do you have the right queen bee? And I'm sorry guys, I am fighting something, so I've just got to take a quick sip of my tea. But is it, what is it? Has your center adopted a queen bee role that maybe you don't agree with and needs to change? Are you a director and your owner hasn't established a queen bee role? Maybe get with your owner to establish that, to really come up with something that will define what you want your center to be, and that how you guys can do it. Again, staff meetings are a great way. If you're not sure where to go, have a working staff meeting where you guys just get together and explain the concept to them, play a portion of this video for them where I explain what it is, and come up with it together. You'll be amazed at the loyalty and the retention you'll get from your staff when you bring them into things like this. When you really empower them and show them, I value you enough that I want your opinion when I'm creating my center's culture, right? That's what you're saying when you value your staff and asking them. It just can't just come from us. I know it's tempting. I was once the owner who got trapped in that, where it was like, it's my way or the highway. And I realized I was being a really bad leader at that time. I definitely did not have great leadership skills at that time, and I struggled more with retention. When you make that shift and you really try to give them ownership, it helps so much. You guys will be amazed at how much it increases your employee retention. So if you don't know yours, I mean, some of you guys are just going to know. That's it. I know my role. I know what my superpower is. This is where we shine. Some of you may not. Some of you may struggle a little bit more. Some of it might be more difficult for you guys to really just know what it is. And some of you guys might identify it and not like it, right? And that's okay. You can change it. You can absolutely shift. Make that conscious effort to shift what you decide your queen bee is going to be, or what you would like it to be. So that is what I have for you guys today. I told you it was going to be short and sweet today. Not too much, since I did a quick pivot away from what I was going to talk about. I'll probably still record what I was going to talk about, and I'll just have that posted for you guys next Monday instead, since I will not be live next Monday. If you guys have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. I do go throughout the week. I have my assistant check the comments to make sure that there's nothing I need to address. Feel free to message me. I get lots of messages between my podcast and this throughout the week. Feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to interact with you guys. I love the interaction. My goal is really just to be helpful. I know what it's like to be a struggling owner. I know what it's like to be a struggling director. I know what it's like to have the owner and director and me fighting with each other. You know, where the director in me wants this, the owner in me wants this, and trying to find that happy medium, that balance, can be quite the struggle sometimes. It still is, but we learn how to do it. We learn how to wear the different hats. So I just really hope that it's helpful for you guys, the content that I provide. But feel free to reach out to me, whether it's in the comments. The comments are nice because a lot of times other people you guys have the same questions. And so when you guys leave them in the comments, it does answer a lot of the same questions. So, you know, don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed to ask the questions. I get lots of messaged questions, and usually a lot of times they're the same thing. So don't feel shy. You know, you guys, believe it or not, I'm extremely shy, but sometimes we just have to learn how to let it go and just kind of roll with it. And it's amazing. You know, you get more bees with honey. So the more you really just put out there, it really is helpful for others too. So feel free, and I hope everybody has a fantastic week. And I won't see you guys live next week. You'll still get a recording of me, and I'll still be monitoring comments. My assistant will still be working, so she'll still be talking to me, and we'll still be, if you need to reach out to me, I'll still be able to communicate. She'll be filtering for me, so I don't have to go through all of them, but she's like, any of you who need replies and help, I will be in contact with. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Bye.